Happy Tuesday, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Lean Coaching for Lean Coaches. So glad to have you in here today, as always. And today you are in for a treat. In fact, this week you're in for a treat. We are not going to have just one coaching session. We are going to have two coaching sessions this week. And we're making a little bit of an adjustment. This is what we do. We're agile in the lean world. And the scheduled guest today, L.R. Weeden. We had some conflicts with the schedule, so no worries. You're going to find him back here on Thursday, and we're going to have a fantastic time then. But today, you're going to want to stay right here because up next, I've got a fantastic coaching session that I did with one of my great friends and lean practitioners, Mr. Victor Orozco. Now, again, this is an experiment. This is what we do in the lean world. We experiment when we try new things. Victor and I taped a coaching session a couple weeks back, and we're working through and on a challenge that he's got right now. And I think you are going to find this not only so insightful and encouraging and energizing, I think you're going to find this really inspiring. And seeing how Victor opens up and shares from his heart and also gets some clarity and works through the challenge that he's facing right now. So, of course, as always, you know I'm here to help and support. This is what I do and I love to do, helping lean folks that are wanting to move and open up their own thing, and also lean folks that are having a struggle right now in the space they're in. So I'm going to go ahead and without further ado, we're going to go ahead and kick it off by getting introduced to Victor and what he's up to these days. So let's go ahead and get right into the coaching session.
I've been a practitioner in continuous improvement for a little while now. Spent most of my time in healthcare space, specialty pharmacies, hospitals, outpatient clinics all over the place. With an outpatient clinic in Austin currently, doing supporting a federally qualified health center. We support all the homeless populations, the low income populations, and all that. So, a lot of opportunities for improvement there.
Well, you can also, one of the things just to note as I slip away here, as when we recorded the video, the session was recorded just with Victor's beautiful face. So throughout the session, you're going to hear my voice in the background and you'll be seeing Victor here as he continues to share about his challenge. So just a heads up there again with this experiment, we're always learning. But again, back to Victor. Enjoy the session. See, my dude uses the lean skills and practices to help support work that's helping people that need it. So, man, if there's not a person that we don't want to help support and continue to build up in his practice, it's Victor right here. And full disclosure, Victor and I have done some work together before, and that's why I invited him to come on here, because I knew he would be open and would share, so that not only can he learn and grow in his practice, but you can learn right along with him, like I know you already have in all of these other sessions before. So, man, I'm excited. So, are you ready for some coaching, Victor?
Let's get into it. Why not?
Let's do it. Let's do it. So, what's on your mind today, my friend?
So, when we first started going through our coaching sessions and we were talking about my dream state, I really wanted to get out with the kids more. I wanted to be more active with them, taking them hiking, teaching them how to start fire. We were able to clean up a lot of and free up a lot of my time and my wife's time and the kids' time to go and start fishing regularly and really help build our family dynamic, which has been awesome. To go the next step further, though, to get those hikes in and those long distance travels by foot, I'm gonna need to get in a lot better shape. So I'm thinking that's the space and sphere I kind of want my next challenge, opportunity to improve myself and better the family.
Well, tell me a little bit more about what are you picturing and kind of your like, man, this would be awesome if I did this. What are you seeing going on in that picture of the place you want to be?
Oh, somewhere around the mountains in Santa Fe, where there's pine forest and snow. My oldest recently asked if we can go skiing, and I'm like, yeah, we can do that. I can get up the mountain fairly easily. They got those lifts, but really taking those walks and being able to tell stories out there and
Mm.
share all the knowledge that I've gained over a lifetime of being out in the woods with them.
Can you say more about what else you're seeing going on in this? Like, I mean, the mountains in Santa Fe, I think all of us would raise our hands and say, yes, sign me up for that. That sounds beautiful. I would go there with you. Tell me more about what you're picturing and seeing in that scenario.
Ponderosa pines, the smell of pine tar, the crunch of needles, this pecking of woodpeckers, Lillian asking a million questions, Rosie running around and screaming like a bat as she picks everything up and tries to put it in her mouth, even though she's past the age of putting things in her mouth. But yeah, and I don't want to be huffing and puffing, trying to talk and tell those stories as we go through those walks, as we go through those mountains, whether it's up a trail, down a trail, or what have you. Um, I'm at a weight now where I can't even get on horseback. I used to run and enjoy it, and that was a hard thing to build, and I'm kind of sad that I've lost that. Not just for myself, but I'm also not that example, right? We do our best to teach our kids and instill values in them, right? Try to help them identify, come up with our family values, but help them identify what's valuable to them.
Yeah.
Because it's those things in life, at least first rule lean, right? Value to the customer.
Oh,
So in our own lives, we're our own
yes.
customers. So we got to provide value to ourselves too. And in that, we have direction. And without defining what that value is for ourselves, then
Yeah.
you're kind of directionless. And I don't want that for them. I've been there, and it's not a fun space to be in.
Mm. Well, Victoria, as always, I appreciate you being open and sharing, your experience and the challenges and all those things. And also, I'm getting like a clearer picture in my mind, and I think everybody else who's checking this out is seeing that as well. And appreciate how you're framing it in like, yeah, I'm the customer in this, right? And I think that that's so often we can lose that as practitioners that, hey, we've got work to do ourselves and we need to apply these frames for ourselves. So it's beautiful you're seeing that. And then you're applying it also in your personal work with the people that are most important and closest to you. And then you also caught yourself too. You're like, okay, this is what I don't want. Okay, well, what do you want? So you said, you don't want to be huffing and puffing and those things. You mentioned some stuff around storytelling. So can you maybe share a little bit more about that? I just want to paint as clear a picture as we can and then do some more work around moving you forward.
The biggest vision, or the most impactful vision I'm seeing in my eye, is walking through the forest on the trail with them, whether it's uphill or not, and being able to walk and talk, being able to go a whole
Mm,
3, 5, maybe even 10 miles without having to be being able to walk those with some ease and still be able to hold a conversation with people, especially with them. That's the big target right there for me.
mm. And for those who don't know, what's your, because so you have this clear picture, and we also know that having a picture is great and having a why behind it. I know you're a very purposeful person. But what is the why, and what is the why behind this picture, the walking and talking in nature with the girls, all the things?
had bits of that in my youth and when I was really young, and we lost that as a family. We kind of drifted apart as I was entering middle school and into my teenage years. And I felt very much alone and on my own and doing things to the point where, you know, I left 14 years old, had a fight with my grandpa, we're not
Mm,
one of those you live if you're under my roof, you're gonna live by my rules. And I was like, okay, well, I don't want to follow those rules, so I'm gonna go live in the park, and I did for 8 months. And those experiences, I don't want the girls, my kids,
mm,
to lose that sense of connectiveness. I want to maintain that best we can, and I want them to have those experiences to show, hey, this is what we do when we're out here. This is why this is valuable for us. Culturally, we have a real deep connection to our surroundings, and paying attention to what around you goes around you, regardless of the space you're in. But there is that sense of being in nature and among water and among trees and among the dirt and the insects and all the unpleasantness, and
yeah.
that helps build resiliency. And
Mm.
something I really want to teach them, that in a supportive environment, we can still embrace the hardships and build that resiliency. And it doesn't have to suck just because it's hard.
Well, um, as always, dude, kudos for stepping in, setting the example for yourself, but also tying back, like you clearly had some experiences in your life and you're allowing those not to be spaces of um like anger and resentment. And it's okay if we do have those pieces. You're allowing those to move you forward with purpose and love and care for your girls so that they can um, get those experiences and learn that resiliency and dare we say adaptability, those kinds of things that we want to instill in those that we coach and support in our practice. Right. So it's beautiful that you're wanting to build that in the girls. So for this vision, this challenge you're headed to, where are you at right now, as much as you care to share and want to share in relation to that?
So we've been building up fishing 3 times a week, and that's really gotten me out and moving a lot more. And just at the local golf course, at a little pond back behind some houses, it's not far, it's like a quarter mile, but it's someplace.
Yep.
And it was we're going to walk 20, 30 steps, and then we're going to stop, and then we're going to walk 20, 30 steps, and we're going to stop.
Hmm.
And we've built up over the last month to where we can get there and back without having too much. Well, without me having too much issue. So I'm, to be specific, really want to move into that space of going distance, right? Using distance
Hmm.
as a measure for success.
Hmm.
Um, and for right now, 3.5 miles is the next target. Now, gonna need a couple of milestones before I can get there,
Yeah.
but
Understood. And that I think this is actually literally and figuratively a great way to practice again what we preach. We take things literally, we tell people, gotta take it one step at a time. And here we are, like we actually literally have to do that. And that's totally okay. I think it's great. We need those humbling experiences to be like, all right, yep, I actually have to do that. And then we can refer back to that experience and go when we're encouraging people like, hey, you know what? I'm not only just telling you this, like I actually literally did it. And now here is where I am. And it sucked for a while, but this is where it happened.
I
Man,
tell
I
you,
wish,
I tell you, being 450 pounds, taking 20 steps isn't easy,
mm,
but it was quite literally, I'm going to take 20 steps today without stopping.
mm,
Tomorrow, I'm going to take 25. So it's just maintaining that.
well, that's it. I think we can all relate to this, in whether it's in like taking a walk or it's in our relationship, it's at work. We all have these things where it just feels like a mountain, right? And when we put it in the terms like you're doing, which is a great frame, then there's not a judgment, there's not the overwhelm. It's just like, okay, I'm just building up to it. And you're doing all the right things by applying these practices into this area of your life. What are those pieces? Like, I don't want to go back too far, because we have this thing just goes by so freaking fast, and you're surfacing so many great things here. What's the feeling that you want to be experiencing when you're on this mountain that you're in? I just want to register that so that we can kind of take that to where you're at right now.
And I'm trying to gauge myself because I try to take time to consider questions before answering, and I'm trying to be
Yeah.
very mindful of the time we have. Um, Pride in myself and pride in them is the first thing that comes to mind, the first feeling that comes to mind. Especially, going from starting with taking 10 steps and being breathless.
Hmm.
But yeah, pride.
Hmm. Yeah. Damn, dude. That's the work. That's the work. And pride, it looks different for all of us and what we're proud of. And I think we can all relate to that, wanting that feeling for ourselves and our kids, those that are close to us. We want that. We want to experience that. We want that for our kids. Where are you at? Like we talked about maybe some of the physical pieces, um, right now in reference to where you want to be. What about these feelings? Like what are your experiences with your feelings right now in relation to where you want to be?
There is a lot of shame and disappointment. I don't know if shame is a true opposite of pride, but there
Mm,
is a lot of shame in that. And I'm not one to avoid the negative emotions. I know we have to feel the negative emotions and we have to get through them. But the big one that is there right now is shame.
mm, yeah, that makes sense, man. And I wish I were more steeped in, you know, some of the, I mean, Lord knows I've done some work in getting counseling and therapy and stuff. I'm not licensed in any way, shape, or form. I just know I know that experience of feeling shame. It's definitely there. And also I know one of the pieces that's been, as a reminder is like that little boy that's there that's like, thanks for being there. I know this is coming out of a place of protection and all these things, and and also now I can handle it. And I don't know how that fits in here, but I just want to acknowledge that, for sure, man. That's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, when the last time I remember running for distance, it was 2 miles. I was in the middle of a conditioning class
Hmm.
and it was so amazing.
Hmm.
You know, I used to be able to go up and down those mountains all the time. So just running was great. And that was what, 2010?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Not to age myself, but
Yeah, right. Wow. Yeah.
yeah.
So what do you, um with this bigger goal, um what are you seeing as, just for a reference point, so we kind of have something out there? What's your reference point for when you would want this to be all taking place?
So to achieve this big milestone, 3.5 miles, I was figuring of trying to get it done in 90 days, which is a big, tall order. So if we're using smart criteria, it's time bound. Not entirely sure if it's reasonable, but gotta push yourself.
So just to be like clear, because you painted a picture around, the picture in the mountains with the girls. What do you feel like is your like what's the specific achievement you want to do? Just so you can like, okay, this like if I did this, this would be so freaking awesome, right?
So if I'm thinking in 30 days, in 60 days, and keep maintaining that time boundary, in 30 days, it would be awesome to get to that 1 mile mark. And maybe in 62, and maybe in 93, three and a
Mm.
half.
Mm.
And then when we get to the mountains, a 3.5 mile hike, maybe pushing ourselves to 10. It's different running here in the suburbs around the houses
Yeah.
versus getting up in the mountains and in the trails.
Yep. I think of my friend uh Gemma, who's a former kata coach, and she wrote these frames around, setting a challenge. I can totally see you having something around this whole idea of doing some type of distance so that you can be there, on this, on these hikes. And I think that's beautiful. I mean, this is like a beautiful picture. So what with that in mind, what do you see as your next step to take? And I guess
Sure.
before we hit that, just real quickly, because this might help inform that. What do you see as your biggest obstacles or challenges that are keeping you from getting to those, and that'll maybe inform that step.
My biggest barrier is maintaining the discipline. This is with as ambitious I'm imagining it's gonna be.
Yeah.
The discipline, the daily discipline, is gonna be crucial. No, they say start someplace, and then working in healthcare 3 times a week, start someplace, just start there.
Yep.
But we're hitting that already, so
Yeah.
I want to do it daily. It's got to be daily. If I'm going to hit these ambitious goals, it's got to be daily. So maintaining that discipline of doing it daily is going to be my biggest barrier.
Biggest barrier. Yeah.
So
Um,
maybe that'll be the goal is am I dedicating 20 minutes to doing some form of running every single day?
so knowing you as I do and knowing how driven and I really appreciate how you dive in and you just want to like take on every challenge right here, right now. I know you well enough to know that, Victor. Um, so with this challenge of maintaining discipline, knowing that this is like a daily thing, we know these things. You would preach that to anybody, any leader that's coming in. Hey, you had this big goal, ambitious goal. That's awesome. Go. And also you got to start, right? Like right here, right now. What's the thing you're going to do? Because you can't obviously do 20 minutes daily right now, right? Like for the next 30 days, you can only do tomorrow. So what is your next step? Let's just say, what is the thing between today and tomorrow so that you can start, and knowing that this is the obstacle? What's your next step?
in order to overcome root causes, lack of discipline. So experiment to try to overcome the root cause. I think I'm going to put together a tracker
Okay.
so that I can keep track of how much I'm dedicating each day.
What what are we what are we gonna see, or what are you gonna be doing um to create this tracker? Can you say more about that?
I love my Excel templates. I love
How
my
did I know it
Excel
would end up in
templates.
there? I knew it would end up in Excel.
So probably an Excel template to show that goes by day 1 to day 30. That way I'm not bound by calendar days.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to achieve that 20 minutes. So for tomorrow, create the template and attempt 20 minutes.
Okay. What's your expectation of how that's gonna go?
I can get that template knocked out in like 2 minutes, 5 minutes. And since it's fresh and it's a new thing, it's a new challenge, and I'm excited about it,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't feel like I'm going to be too delayed or stopped or resistant
Yeah,
from
yeah, yeah.
doing the 20 minutes tomorrow.
Yep. How do you think you're
We'll
gonna
see.
feel?
I'm going to feel excited creating the template, and I'm going to maintain that excitement until I have to be outside in the cold. And I get in past 10 minutes. I think that excitement's going to change.
Got it. What do you expect to learn from this first step?
I expect to learn what my true limitation is, because there's a difference between walking those steps and trying to jog them or trying to run them.
Dude, um, that's awesome. And I really appreciate you stepping into this space, being open, vulnerable, transparent, and digging and doing the work. And then, like, setting that step and then that expectation of how things are going to go for you. I am so excited to see how this goes for you over the days and weeks ahead. What during this time today was the most valuable for you about this conversation?
So I've been playing with this idea since I think you and I had kind of completed the first challenge. And but there was some things that had to get done first off, right? There had to have been some good some time constraints had to have been freed up. But I think this came at the right time
Mm,
for me. So the most valuable part was to sit down and actually commit to writing the goals down, getting through this first step of it, getting through this. Why am I doing this? Because that's going to be when it's hard out there.
yeah,
That's going to be crucial when it's misty and 30 degrees or less. Fingers crossed, no, we're in Texas here.
that's right.
It's going to be hard. And so, really hammering out those details and getting them laid out in a manageable set was the most valuable piece for me.
Well, y'all, if you didn't already want to connect with Victor before, what the are you waiting for? Seriously, you can tell this guy actually not only just talks the talk, he walks the walk, and he's applying it in his life in those areas, which I dare say that many of us would dare to go into. So please reach out, connect with Victor, and engage. He's the kind of guy that's there. He lives it. He loves it. He's got a passion for it. And I am so blessed to know you, Victor, and thankful for you joining us here. Please engage with the community, all of you that are here. Ask the questions, give us the feedback. And if you saw this and you're like, damn, I need some of that kind of support in my life and world. Well, I'm here for that, and I'm here to support you. Please DM me and reach out, and I'd be happy to be there and support you in your journey for the long haul. We're doing these sessions one at a time, and they're beautiful. But for the deep work, we both know, Victor knows, I know it takes time, one step at a time, and I'm here to support you. So thanks again to you all for being a part of this, for jumping in. Again, Victor, I'm so blessed. Thank you for being here, and y'all have a fantastic day. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks again. Thanks, Victor.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, y'all. As promised, that was fire. Connect with Victor, get in touch with him, bringing so much insight and energy today. And of course, like I said, if you need that kind of support in your life, I'm here for you. And come back on Thursday because LR Weeden is going to be bringing the fire. We're going to have a fantastic session, a bonus session for you this week. And of course, drop in the comments what was most valuable about this time for you today. Again, have a fantastic day. Thanks again for jumping along on the experiment with us today on Lean Coaching for Lean Coaches. Until next time, take care, everybody.